Oh baby, this may be it, man. Out of all the Sidney Crosby contract discussion videos we have made, we have talked about the idea of him going to some other team. We have talked about him staying. We talked about the dollar amounts. We had talked about the sweepstakes. We had talked about all the possibilities. Does he want to go play with the Canadiens because his dad was drafted by them? Does he want to play for Colorado because his buddy Nate Mac Daddy McKinnon is over there? But as of right now, recording this audio, Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh Penguins franchise generational talent, is still unsigned. And I get it, he could sign a contract right before this video is uploaded, and everything I say here looks stupid, but as stupid as these videos can be or have been in the past, this is still one of these ideas that I think is actually one of the more cohesive ones. And as a result, I wanted to go out there and explore this topic in a video here. Let's go out there onto The Athletic because Rob Rossi published an article on July 31st talking about Sidney Crosby's contract, Penguins trades, and the Big Three's future. This is your mailbag. Now, before we dive into that, honestly, I wanted to say big God bless out to the Athletic writers and other writers who are still finding ways to create content via mailbags or via hypothetical situations, giving us stuff here on the YouTube channel to break down and discuss. I've been saying it this entire time, man, this offseason has been boring. PU, this has been a smelly offseason because there's been nothing to talk about. It's dry, it's crusty, and that imagery is really disgusting. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop talking about that. But in prior off-seasons, we have had so many extra rumors and actual things to go over, potential impacts of players with teams, but this year, no, it's just kind of like, okay, a lot of the top guys had signed, and there isn't really any big rumors going on. I mean, all the guys that could get traded, we've already run those rumors into the ground. Nobody's saying anything new about Trevor Zegras anymore, right? So when it comes to the mailbags, they help us out. They give us content to talk about here on the channel, and I get it, you know, this is kind of my formula. I like to react to things that I see online, and that's kind of the video style here. So big shout out over to Rob Rossi for making this mailbag a few days ago. However, because it's The Athletic and it's paid for material, instead of reading the article per se, let's go over onto Spectre's Hockey from August 2nd, so yesterday, because Lal Richardson went out there and summarized some of the main points about Rob Rossi's article. Take a look at this. Rob Rossi provided an update on the status of Sidney Crosby's contract extension talks with the Penguins. He had reported a month ago that multiple sources indicated the two sides were closing in on a deal, with both sides confident it would be completed soon. It was speculated the deal would be 3 years with an AAV of $10 million. So far, that extension has yet to materialize. Rossi, though, followed up with his sources, indicating that both sides were comfortable with where the negotiations stood, and that everyone felt comfortable going about the summer plans and taking some downtime. Rossi noted that Crosby was born on August 7, 1987. The superstitious Pittsburgh Penguins captain honors that date by wearing number 87 and earning an AAV of $8.7 million on his current contract. Quote, "Read into that last sentence what you will." Spectre's note goes out there and says this: "It would not be surprising if Sidney Crosby's new contract is announced on Wednesday. Stay tuned." And you know, it all makes sense now. Really? Like, I'm not a Penguins fan, but some of my good friends here in the Lower Mainland in Vancouver are Penguins fans, and of course, I've interacted with many Penguins fans on social media in the past. I mean, I've been doing this for so long, it's kind of inevitable, right? But when it comes to this idea, I feel like every Pittsburgh Penguins fan may have just breathed out a sigh of relief. Not necessarily because they thought that Sid the Kid was going to leave anytime soon, but because knowing that there might just be an answer to all of this really does put things into a more easier to digest place. Hey, Sidney Crosby is so superstitious. He's been making $8.7 million a year for years now. He has severely been underpaid throughout his time as the best NHL player, and he honors that August 7th, 1987 birth date by wearing 87 as his jersey number. I mean, August 7th, that's 87, 1987, 87 right there. So it would make so much sense if Sid the Kid put off all of these negotiations until Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, and ended up signing a regular deal at, let's say, $10 million a piece. Not 8.7 again, because I feel like the cap has gone up so much that $8.7 million would be like a little bit too much of an underpay. Like, I get it, you know, he wants to stay loyal to the number, but Sidney Crosby, man, go get your bag. Not that he hasn't had his bag. I mean, he's got Olympic gold twice. He's got the medals. He's got the earnings with the sponsorships. He has been the face of the National Hockey League for as long as I can remember, honestly. As a child growing up, he's been that guy. And so, obviously, he's got money. But something about being put in that $8.7 million caliber player mark is gonna feel really weird if Sidney Crosby is still going out there putting up 80, 90, 100-point seasons at 36, 37, 38 years old. He's gonna get a big payday, we all recognize this, and if the contract date is announced on August 7th, 2024, I think it's so poetic the way everything comes about here that nobody is gonna dislike it. Like, really? Sidney Crosby signing on any other day? That wouldn't make as much sense as him signing on his birthday, giving the 87 label one more chance to shine, because you know it's not going to be reflected in the dollar amount per se. Heck, maybe it's 10 million point 00087. Like, maybe there actually is a way to put the 87 in there. We had seen the Toronto Maple Leafs do some funky things to get 34 and 16, those two-digit samples into the Matthews and Marner contracts when Dubas was over there. So if there is an opportunity for some fan service to be provided into the contract numbers, then I don't think it's the most unreasonable thing in the world to think about what those possibilities could provide. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like Sidney Crosby is ever going to get the amount of money that he's probably worth, right? Like, you take a look at what he was able to do in last season's worth of play. I mean, he's been a consistent 90-point guy ever since COVID pretty much took over the world. He's been so consistent at being a point per game and better that at this point, I mean, longevity included, status included, magnitude of importance included, Sidney Crosby is maybe like a $11-12 million asset. Like, if he gets 10 million, okay, great, but it's like if you gave him more, it wouldn't be unreasonable. If Crosby got like $13 million a year next season, then it wouldn't really be the craziest thing in the world. Sure, it's a lot different now because he is older than he was when he was really on top of the world, but he's still good and the cap is going up. So for Sid the Kid, I think, to live out the end of his NHL days with Pittsburgh and in this kind of a territory where the magic date may just very well be Wednesday, it's becoming predictable, but it's not a bad thing. Sometimes a little fan service is good, and for Sidney Crosby, for him being as superstitious as he is, keeping things aligned with that would certainly be characteristic of him. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Sidney Crosby and potentially his whatever dollar amount contract maybe being signed on Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. Links are going to be in the description to both the Athletic piece as well as the Spectre's hockey article. And for anybody who is a Montreal Canadiens or a Colorado Avalanche fan who is willing to tune into this video and see what the scoop was as to whether or not Crosby would go over to your team, sorry, bro, I don't think that's going to happen in this timeline. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below either way, though I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.